Well, second person who's here for inexplicable reasons, we are playing The Witness. You ready to witness something special?
I am.
Excellent, excellent. 2016 puzzle game created by Jonathan Blow, here to refer to as Jay Bizzle. Took pretty much all the money they made from indie darling Braid and funneled it into creating this. So, are you ready to experience the greatest puzzle game of all time?
I don't know. I don't know if I'm ready for this. But
Oh,
let's see.
it's filling up.
Oh,
Ah, and there it is.
so you turned that circle
That's right.
into that little half circle.
That's right. Circle into the... Okay, so pretty much this is a puzzle game. If you have no idea what's going on, that is by design. Jay Bizzle really wanted this to be a very fresh, interesting experience. One that you learn a lot from as you're going through it. And
Yeah.
I think that, setting you up here with the very first puzzle, you see that. Setting you up here with the second puzzle, start to understand the rules even more.
Yeah, so you basically you click on the circle and you move it towards the little half circle at the end.
And
It's very simple.
Very simple, very easy to understand, and the rules from the very beginning are very clear. One of the things that I really like about the game, because like I said, the game is supposed to be a blank slate experience. You're supposed to not understand anything going in here, and then figure out everything over time.
There's no exposition of the puzzles. You'll
There's
never
no
find,
exposition of
text.
anything. This game has no plot.
Or rather, the game itself is the exposition. There's no text explaining it.
Yep.
You figure it out by going through it based on how it's presented.
We had 1-2 pictures that kind of showed exactly what was going on. And then as soon as you come out here, you can see where the next puzzle is, and you can also see something way up here, which we will, of course, be going to almost immediately. So, all right.
But in the beginning, you're just kind of covered with flowers in this fortress little setting, this walled
This
fortress.
game is very nice looking. It is a very pretty game, and it has a lot of style. It has a lot of grace. It does not have any funny faces because I think aside from seeing your shadow, that's pretty much the closest thing you're going to see to another human being in this entire thing.
Yeah, I don't think you can't see your reflection. Well, you can see statues of people, but you can't really see, no.
Oh, yeah, and we'll be seeing plenty of statues. Anyway, let's get on with the game here. Okay, so you know that we're going to the end, but it's not just any end. For example, that does not solve the puzzle. And similarly...
In fact, I'm realizing that that's what this is designed to teach you.
Yep. Every single one of these puzzles is designed to teach you or to test that knowledge eventually. And boy, oh boy, does it get tested. These puzzles are simple for right now, but they get deviously difficult with time. Perhaps a little bit too difficult in some ways, but yeah.
You can't get the square ends. Those are no good.
Right.
You can't self-intersect. The path has to be one single path.
One single line, circle to edge circle, and then you can kind of see where the next puzzle is by following the cord over here. They light up when they're solved, which is pretty neat. Okay, so
I have a quick question. You might know this. Are these, as far as you can tell, an original? Obviously the puzzles themselves are very, very original. Jonathan Blow obviously designed a lot of these puzzles, all of them.
Well, all of them, obviously.
Well, yeah, and if he had any help, it's it was somebody using Jonathan Blow's ideas.
Yeah.
But did he invent this style of puzzle?
I mean, I want to say yes. I have never seen anything. I've played a lot of video games. Video games, and as far as I know, I have not seen this sort of concept in anything else. Something like Baba Is You, which I've also played for the channel, and if you watch that playthrough, this one's going to be quite similar. It's weird that you can actually see particle effects and hear a noise very faintly when you're up against this.
Yeah, just kind of a humming, like an electromagnetic.
But
hum.
yeah, unlike Baba Is You, which is very clearly Sokoban, can't go past that. This is an entirely original idea, as far as I know. So
okay, that was my question. So
fairly certain. I mean, it's definitely something that you can see where the sort of inspiration would come from. Now, this is another interesting concept, where it's just you follow a path. But
something that's not immediately clear when you start this is that there's only that is completely separate from the half circle, the ending. You can't solve it from the left side.
It needs to be a complete path, and if something is blocking it, even if you can move it out of the way, you can't move across it. And it does matter where you start too, because this one has literally no solution otherwise. So you gotta kind of swoosh your way right through there. I think that opened up another belt.
It's notable that these puzzles are relatively complex even now. Like these are pretty complex versions of the vanilla puzzle.
Yeah, I mean, that's the entire point, is that it's supposed to be something about, like, Jonathan Blow trying to have you figure out the learning process. There we are.
Yeah, so this is like the equivalent of going from like, oh, okay, so now you know that you can square numbers. Now figure out how to solve quadratic equations.
Yep, slowly but surely.
There's a way to do it, but it's like you really need to.
You need to learn it on your own, which is a big thing.
Yeah.
And obviously, there's two solutions to this puzzle, and that does actually make a difference because the cord is lit up there, but the cord going over here that actually connects the gate leading out is not lit up, fam. Which is a problem. Also, yeah, this sort of like little splash thing kind of appears a lot in the game. You'll see that on a lot of like backs of chairs or on pillows, everything like that.
I believe in general those are like where spots where you can witness like environmental puzzles, but that's way down the road.
Yeah, we'll be looking at that eventually. Oh, don't worry. I'm fully planning to do 100% of this game, but for right now, it's like it's just a lot of nice. It's a very nice game. It's a very relaxing, simple game. I like it for that almost more than anything else.
Yeah, it's weird because you kind of always know what you're getting when you get into the game, which is extraordinarily difficult puzzles. Well, not that one. That was pretty easy.
Well, no, this one is just... There are utility puzzles. Puzzles pretty much used to open up gates or doors, much like the one that I started the game in. But...
Yeah. I think of those as sort of being like rewards. They're sort of like a candy after you know...
They are still counted as puzzles regardless. And I was just going to go into the pause screen, but then I realized that I have like 50 save files that are all incredibly far down there. So, maybe not.
After you agonizingly cook the souffle, you get a little piece of candy at the end just to make you feel a little bit better.
There's that one area again, way off in the distance.
Huh. You keep pointing to it. I wonder if
we're going to be going there. It's like, don't even... And here's where you can see. Here's the nice little taste of like, what the hell is this even?
Yeah, and it's like, well, what do those things represent?
What does any of this mean?
It's not, how can you even begin to solve that?
Of course, it's like you go 5 feet to the left here, and you start to get the actual. I mean, pretty much anytime you see these puzzles in like a big roll like this, they're tutorial puzzles. They are supposed to teach you about something. And these ones done on little, like, old-ass CRT screens. I said ass on this channel. Fuck. Anyway.
Yeah, they're helpful for monitoring your progress.
All right.
Oh, that doesn't work. You set off the alarm.
This one did, yeah, and the alarm did not get set off this time. But one of the really nice things about this game is that it does at least flash red when you're doing something wrong.
Usually.
Unless you're doing it extremely wrong, like that other puzzle.
Yeah.
It's like, yeah, the way you look at this seems pretty obvious exactly how this one is supposed to be done.
I feel like you need all of them. You need to do all of the blobs.
Yep, and then and since you got like 2 things here, it's like now you got to figure out exactly how to get through there.
Which one do I start with?
Without getting
maybe you can go the other way. Well, no, then that's blocked off, huh?
Yep, it's interesting because these ones, it's like if you can't get it immediately, it kind of makes sense, but I don't know. If you look at this like first puzzle here, and you can undo puzzles pretty much as you want, it's like there is still sort of eventually you're going to brute force your way through. It can be a little bit difficult though, because I think that it doesn't quite ease you in enough, at least as much as I would like.
Like this is already a pretty complex puzzle.
I actually got this one immediately. Well, I forgot where you were supposed to start there. It lucked right into it.
Yeah. And, okay, so you are kind of a savant at these puzzles at this point.
Well, I've done them enough times to consider myself as such.
I mean, let's be clear. You are much further in the development curve than even I am, and I feel like I'm pretty good at this game at this point.
And bam. So, yes. You ever heard that Offspring song, Come Out and Play? Gotta keep them separated.
Yeah. Now, this is obviously problematic for a number of reasons, but it's best to think he's only did racism because of colorblindness. So it was kind of like,
right.
You have any good options.
You're not supposed to look at this as racism, but it is.
It's not a metaphor for racism. It's just a really on the nose. I mean, it is racism.
Yeah, you really gotta pay attention with where the puzzles start and where the puzzles end, because they make all the difference.
Yeah.
That can be something of a thing. And one of the important things to note about these puzzles is that blank stuff, for example, this one here, can be included with either one of these colors. It's just
Yeah. There are alternate solutions in several puzzles. Just
many,
not
many
very frequent.
solutions to many, many different puzzles over time.
You
And
don't have a ton of autonomy, but you do have some.
later puzzles, of course, much like Baba Is You, actually, are very heavily reliant on the fact that, you are going to kind of choose the correct solution sometimes, which can be a little
Yeah.
bit frustrating when you're so used to doing some of these simpler puzzles right now. So
Yeah,
yes,
and some of the freedom that you have to solve things in different ways only comes from the fact that a puzzle might be so complex that there's no way there's only one solution.
yeah, which is kind of frustrating in some ways, but
Yeah.
it's like you can see exactly what Jay Bizzle wanted to do, but you also know that it's like there are certain limitations. Ultimately, it's like what you are witness to is Jay Bizzle's thought process and what he wants to see in video games, and sometimes that's not what you want to experience. So,
Yeah, and
2 abilities gained right now. I now know how to do the little dot puzzles, and I now know how to do the separation puzzles.
So you should be able to solve that one that's on the other that you went to.
Yep. And it's like it's kind of Metroid-style in the way that this actually works, where you are
It's Metroid style, except you're
getting the
character.
abilities, and you
you're
become
Samus.
yeah, finally. It's been a dream of mine.
Yeah.
So pretty much it's like you're completely overpowered at the end of the game once you know how to solve all the problems. It's just you got to get that.
But then the puzzles get more complex as you do that, though. Now, some of these, he's relying on you using some logical inference here. The ones that won't work. There are 2 entrances that are obviously invalid because there's no way to. Can't do that because you'd have to have self-intersection. The one in that there's no way to do that. You need to exactly.
Okay, so this will be
What a
important later
mysterious
on.
pattern.
Probably want to take a screenshot of that right now, hence why we've got screenshot here. And then we'll be looking at that.
Is that a part of the game? Where it says
Indeed.
screenshot on the game?
Oh, yeah, no, that actually happens in the game. Jay Bizzle knows when you're cheating.
Oh.
Which, screw him. He made the
He's a
puzzles
little
too
bit
hard.
like Santa Claus, except he provides only punishments.
And he wants to punish you so much. That's why I'm playing the witness. Anyway, you can also see what's inside there. And this
What is
tree.
the purpose of that?
Well, just in case you want to know what's inside of this area, but you can't solve the puzzle on the door, I guess. To see what sort of treats and tricks await you in time.
Yeah. Little tree.
Yes, little tree. So, trees are a weird, little part of this game. So.
Oh yeah, for sure. There's dozens of different types of trees.
Here's another little concept that you're introduced to right here. You can do puzzles from any distance that you want to, as long as you can
you're
see
able to
everything.
see. Is that true?
Yeah.
Any distance?
Any distance, as long as you can actually see it and get your finger on the pulse.
Yeah. Usually that's the problem is you don't have the sensitivity to do it.
This is a nice game. It is a nice looking game. It is a very pleasant game to kind of, chill out to if you're not getting frustrated with the puzzles.
Oh, there's a game console there or whatever.
Well, yeah, of course.
Game Boy.
Through many births.
Why did it start with those off?
Wandered on.
There we go.
And on, searching for, but never finding, the builder of this house.
Now, that's probably the simplest quote and one that's not actually attributed to anybody. Because usually the way that those work is that they're, a quote from whoever, like some philosopher or artist or whatever that Jay Bizzle likes. So,
or a long piece from like the New Yorker or something.
yeah. I would count that as being from an author. But, yeah, it's like,
Okay, yeah.
again, no plot to this game. There's no plot to this game.
Mm-hmm.
Like, you think there's going to be a plot to this game. There's no plot to this game. But I guess that's, like, the closest thing that you're going to get here to anything? I don't know. Most of them are much longer, and they do work at an infinite distance, so with subtitles on, we should be able to kind of continue on here playing the game. Yep, and that's why I need to solve that puzzle over there. Without worrying about missing anything here, because some of those are pretty long.
Yeah,
You know the one I'm talking about.
I do.
Look, they're nice little bits of setting for the game and everything on this otherwise desolate, though very pretty island. But
I also think that I mean, other than the statues and the little quotes are really the only. I mean, they're the only human interactions you have that can even be close to human interactions. I guess. It's very desolate.
yep, very much so, and very much by design as well. Because
It very much feels like some post-apocalypse. Like, where are we? Like, we can get into that later.
An island. That's all you know.
Well, we don't even really know that until you really start exploring and see that there's
nothing going on here.
Yeah,
I think
it's just,
if you look at some of the also get used to these puzzles. I still don't know how they work, but
okay, I can tell you.
okay, yeah, actually, you know what? Because this is going to be news to me.
It'll come in the challenge cave, but here's the thing. You see how there's one of them? That means on one, your solution has to pass through that square on one edge. Exactly.
Oh, so it's edges. Okay, interesting.
Yeah.
Interesting. We're learning stuff here.
And so you basically have beaten most of the game, and you
Still didn't know how to do it.
didn't figure that out. And these are all over the place. You're kind of brute forcing them, I'm guessing, which is all right.
There we go. Easy.
You can get by without figuring out exactly how some of the mechanics work. But
Well, those ones those are like weird bonus puzzles that are scattered all about the island until, well, the challenge cave, as you said, the super post game, essentially.
yeah,
So,
and come to think of it, it's weird that even happens. Like, I shouldn't have told you that.
no,
I
I'm okay with knowing about that right now. So anyway, the obvious way to go, I mean, first off, I want to see these little stubby trees. They're so
Kind of
stubby.
look like people, little statues.
They probably are intended to be that. That's a lot of things in the game where it's like you see things at the right angle. Shadows will cast some crazy stuff, or I'll be able to see them as people, but it's not happening right now. I'll say that.
Yeah, so,
Too bad.
A lot of these, like a lot of the beauty of this game comes from finding things, like looking at them from another perspective.
And really, this should probably be the next area to go. I mean, not only is it on brand for myself with the whole cherry tree motif, it's also probably one of the simpler ones to do. I mean, the very first thing that you see when you get up to this puzzle is right up here. But I don't want to go this way. I want to do a little bit of exploration around the island. Like I said, it's very Metroid-style. You can do things in whatever order you want, in whatever way you wish. And one of the things that was very clear when I started out the game was that there was a little path right over to the left here. No, this is going back to the fortress where I started. Let's actually go the correct direction and go over here, I believe. Yes.
Okay, yeah, and this is surprisingly for such. The island is actually pretty big.
Jay Bizzle kind of fudges. I'm pretty sure he fudges some of the distance of stuff, where it's like, this is actually much closer than it actually is, but looking at it from this distance, it looks like it's miles away. But, first off, just because I can, there is.
Oh, you think that's like
this.
A perspective? Oh, yeah, nice.
Just because. There's no
Good
point.
dog.
There's a dog here. Not even a puzzle over here. It's just a dog.
I don't think I even found that, to be honest.
Oh, I have done so much exploration of this island. Because I like looking at little details in games. And there's so many of them here. For example...
just so you know, we are getting a little bit of lag. At least I am. I don't know if it's on your end.
Oh, yeah.
So,
It's a little bit. It's not bad.
Your question is the most difficult.
First off, there are a ton of these things in the game, so we're going to be hearing a lot of them. And second off,
There's not that many. It's just that some of them last really, really long.
there's actually a lot. There's actually like 49 in the game.
Oh, really?
Oh, yeah. I missed a lot of them, too. No question. Well, there's an obelisk, so have a monkey toss a bone up in the air.
Reply with.
That's what's going on there.
You happen to know what
The
this is like?
human mind,
If she's one
no
of
matter how
Jonathan Blow's
highly
friends, or like are these
cannot
actors?
I assume that these are all people that Jay Bizzle
We are
actually
in the position
knows.
of a little child
Like for
entering
that he just
a
had to do a little
huge
bit of
library filled with
reading.
books in many languages.
I remember watching a
The child knows someone must have written those
playthrough
books.
of Braid way back in the
Doesn't know
day where
how.
people did something extremely
understand
similar
the
to this. I
languages
don't know
in
if
which
that
they
was
are written.
intentional by Jay
The
Bizzle.
child dimly
Like he
suspects a
wanted it to be
mysterious
like
order in
that.
the arrangement of the books,
Or
but doesn't know
they
what
just
that
decide to do a
means.
bunch of quotes, sort of talking about the
That
game
Seems to me
to make fun of him. But it's
is
interesting
the
to see that it
attitude
reappeared
of
here.
the most intelligent
Honestly, I really
Yeah.
don't remember too much of how exactly Braid went, if that was
Albert
included
Einstein.
there or not.
19.
But that LP that I watched way back in the day really sticks out in my mind.
I haven't seen that. I
It
played
was
Braid.
super old. So,
Okay.
interesting thing about this area, which I will dub the town, is it has a lot of puzzles that you have no idea how to solve. And you can come here pretty much immediately from the start of the game and take a look at what exactly you're going to be seeing. I mean, this is intentionally like a 30-hour or so game the first time you play through it. And it's like you can see why just taking a look in this area alone.
By the way, one of the strange elements about this game is that it kind of, I mean, like this town kind of looks like it's medieval, but like
Yeah.
as you can see, like there's a temple like nearby that's clearly like a, it's Oriental.
Yeah,
Like
it's
it's-
right over here. I think if I just
Like I think that might be
like a Japanese shrine type of style
yeah,
area.
exactly.
It's a huge mishmash of a bunch of different stuff and done in really weird ways too.
Yeah, so I would say the baseline is sort of like medieval Europe, but there's a lot of variations. There's like modern settings.
Like look at this thing.
There's settings that feel like more like they might be like Russian or something.
Whatever this is supposed to be either. It's like, yeah, it's a good preview of what you're going to see in the rest of the game. Then we have a
And then of course there are
man
windmills.
angry at God. Or is he juggling?
Yeah.
Perspective plays a big part in the game, and that's only going to get worse over time. And then we got, yes, the windmill here. Let's go check that out with maybe the easiest to solve puzzle. Get it because it's a windmill.
I mean, it does take a little bit of time to solve it if you're looking at it for the first time.
Nice job, Jay Bizzle. The easiest
And
puzzle
that
yet.
appropriately makes the windmill go.
Yeah, I mean, it is like an actual CRT screen with like scan lines and everything on it.
Yeah.
The panels in this game are erratic. Strange. Of course, everything about the game is supposed to be strange. Exploration, getting perspective on multiple things is a huge part of this. It's a huge part of kind of like realizing what's going on and what you're supposed to be doing.
I would say, actually, that points to one of the flaws of the game. I don't want to get too much
Jump
into
too
this.
far ahead.
But you notice how there's like that pattern on the outside of the windmill? Mm-hmm. Like, it looked like it could have been a puzzle, but it probably isn't.
Bizarre.
You know what I mean? So, like, there's a lot of those where it's like, oh, this isn't actually a puzzle. This isn't actually part of the game. You know, but you could spend a long time looking at it and assuming it was. So it's like, how do you discern what's meant to be an important pattern from what's meant to, just be random details?
Indeed. I mean, pretty much everything has some significance, even if it's just like a little statue of a dog. But hey, first things
That's true.
first, I just took a picture of this, if you remember.
Oh,
Don't say that like you don't know what's going to happen.
yeah. I've played through
Oh,
this
let me
game.
just, we already said that we both played through this game. It's like, oh, wow, I wonder what's going to happen here. Anyway. Ta-ta-ta, and then...
I just remembered you'd done that screenshot. I didn't do screenshots.
You should have.
I should have.
It's really great.
Well, that's no better a solution than any of the
Well,
others,
screw
is it?
you too, Jay Bizzle.
So, in the end, have we learned anything from this look at why the world turned out the way it did that's of any use to us in our future?
Are you going to go through all of
Something, I
this?
think.
Oh, sure. How long is it?
That the key
I forget.
to
Well,
why
you can
things
tell
change
because
Oh!
on the theater,
is the key to
Yes, I
everything.
forgot about that.
How easy
nice little
it is
representational
for
thing.
knowledge to spread.
So about 10 times longer than we've
And
already
that
seen.
in the
Great.
past,
Cool.
The
Well,
people who made change happen were the people who had that knowledge, whether they were craftsmen or kings. Today, the people who make things change, the people who have that knowledge, are the scientists and the technologists who are the true driving force of humanity. And before you say, what about the Beethovens and the Michelangelos? Let me suggest something with which you may disagree violently. That at best, the products of human emotion, art, philosophy, politics, music, literature, are interpretations of the world that tell you more about the guy who's talking than about the world he's talking about. Second-hand views of the world, made third-hand by your interpretation of them. Things like that, as opposed to this. Know what it is? It's a bunch of amino acids, the stuff that goes to build up a worm or a geranium or you. This stuff's easier to take, isn't it? Understandable. Got people in it. This scientific knowledge is hard to take because it removes the reassuring crutches of opinion, ideology, and leaves only what is demonstrably true about the world. And the reason why so many people may be thinking about throwing away those crutches is because, thanks to science and technology, they have begun to know that they don't know so much, and that if they are to have more say in what happens to their lives, more freedom to develop their abilities to the full, they have to be helped towards that knowledge that they know exists and that they don't possess. And by help towards that knowledge, I don't mean give everybody a computer and say, help yourself. Where would you even start? No, I mean trying to find ways to translate the knowledge, to teach us to ask the right questions. See, we're on the edge of a revolution in communications technology that is going to make that more possible than ever before. Or, if that's not done, to cause an explosion of knowledge that will leave those of us who don't have access to it as powerless as if we were deaf, dumb, and blind. And I don't think most people want that. So what do we do about it? I don't know. But maybe a good start would be to recognize within yourself the ability to understand anything, because that ability's there, as long as it's explained clearly enough. And then go and ask for explanation. And if you're
There's
thinking,
subtitles on, right? This isn't too obnoxious, is it?
Yeah, I'm sure it's probably hard to follow what we're saying and then watch this video.
Whatever, it's fine. Look, getting a break like this just gives me the ability to kind of say the stuff that I wanted to about the game without having to worry about walking around all the time.
And I think you just enjoyed the how British those subtitles are, or those titles.
And then there I can...
Yeah.
Oh, look at it. Look at it go. Okay, that's enough of that.
I'm not too familiar with James Burke, but I think he's been on, I know he's been on like Hardcore History. I don't know if he's like a really prominent intellectual.
Huh, interesting, because that looked
really
pretty old. That looked like 70s or so.
Oh, wait, you can see the theater from the back?
Oh, you didn't realize
I
that?
didn't know that. No, I didn't. Well, now I do. Right.
Anyway, I love you, James Burke. There's also a
So now you
panel
know how
back here.
these work.
And then those other puzzles, no way, no how am I going to be able to solve those right now. All require elements that are entirely without my reach.
By the way,
Yeah.
just a programming note, how are you planning to do this? Are you planning to do like a video that's like half an hour and then another one?
Oh, the way I do it is always based on content, not time. I like doing things based on, like finishing something. So basically, whenever you get sick of recording with me here, and I would understand if that's right now, we can stop.
No, I think I'm good.
All right, let's go up and see the actual top of the mountain there. Let's go up the mountain, baby. Because that's an important part of the actual game part of this game. I mean, look, we can talk about Jay Bizzle's like philosophy and what he thinks and what he wants to. I mean,
Jay Bizzle referring to Jonathan Blow, not James Burke.
Oh God, I didn't even think of that. Well, I'm not going to stop calling Jay Bizzle Jay Bizzle. Anyway.
Well, I wonder if that's a sign. I hear that Jonathan Blow has some elaborate messaging
And it's
putting in
backwards. It's BJ.
I think there's some some elaborate numerology that Jonathan Blow, like, you think about it, J, what is that, like the 10th letter?
Yeah, if you play the
11th letter.
Yeah, if you play this game backwards, it
Oh,
actually
Lord God,
tells you when the world's
helper
going to
of
end.
those who seek you.
Yeah,
I
and
see
just
you
in general,
in
like
the
the
garden of
content of these
paradise.
quotes
I
are
do
very
not know what I
stimulating,
see,
but they're just
because
really,
I see nothing visible.
really mellow.
They're
I
also
know
like
this
said in a very
alone,
mellow way on top of
that
that.
I know that I do
Man
not
reaching
know
for a
what I
cup or
see,
man holding a
that
cup.
I can never know.
Fun
I do
stuff.
not
Does
know
man's
how to
reach
name you
exceed
because
his
I do not
grasp?
know what you are.
Can it?
Should anyone
Yes.
tell me that you are
And
named
does
by
it?
this or
Yes.
that name?
But it also
By the fact
And I would
encompasses
say-
his grasp or
I
something.
know
I don't
that
know,
it is
whatever.
not
Ask
true.
Jay Bizzle about it.
And
the
as
wall
pretentious
beyond
as
which
these
I
quotes
see
can come
is
off,
the
sometimes
limit of
they're
every
usually
mode of
reward like
signification by
a
use.
few re-listens.
Should anyone
I mean,
express any concept
they
by
make sense
which
within the
you
context of the
could be
game, but that
conceived,
doesn't mean that they are
I
not
know that this
you know,
concept
pretentious
is
in
not
one way or
concept of
another.
you.
I mean, they can
For
be
every
good
concept
and then
finds its
also
boundary at the wall of
Yeah.
paradise.
All right, here's an important part of the
Should
game.
anyone
Let's just
express
open it up
any
right now.
likeness and say
It's
that you
the
ought to be
boat. This is your
conceived
fast
according
travel.
to it, I know
And
in
you're
the
going to be
same
using
way
it to
that
go
this is
all
not
around the island and also to kind of get an idea of
So
what
too, if
exactly
anyone
is
wishing
in
to
the island,
furnish
the actual
means by
contents of the
which you
game
might
as a
be
whole.
understood should
Because
set forth an
when I
understanding
get
of you,
onto the boat,
one is still far
this
removed.
map shows you pretty much everything
For
you're going to be seeing
the
here.
highest wall
Here's where I
separates
started
you
out,
from
and you can
all
see like the little
these
maze
and
stuff.
secludes you from
There's the
everything
separation
that can
puzzles,
be
the
said
dot
or
puzzle.
thought, because
These aren't
you
going to make
are
sense to people.
absolute
Oh, wait, I
from
suppose, yeah,
all
never
the
mind. Those
things
actually
that
are
can
good.
fall
They absolutely
within any concept.
Yeah.
So it's like we could go there
Nicholas
right
of
now
Cusa,
to this area
1453.
and
Why
figure
don't
out
you
how
go
to
to
do
the top of the
tetromino
mountain?
puzzles. Or go to this area and figure out how to do the...
You can use the boat to do that, and it's a neat little like representational. It's a map, but it's also the territory.
Yeah, it's like it's everything you're going to learn. I mean, similarly, the cherry tree puzzles you can see right here, represented by a little tree icon. It's
And of course,
important.
we haven't even gotten to this, but there is like a map territory thing going on. Like the map is always the territory in this game, and
each
that
one has
is-
a different theme and everything like that.
Yeah, and I mean, we haven't even gotten to the environmental puzzles, but that's probably the clearest.
Oh,
like,
don't
way-
worry, it's coming up like literally right now.
Oh, really? Oh, you're gonna do that?
Oh,
yeah.
we're gonna go up to the top of the mountain because
Oh, I know what you're gonna do. Yeah.
it's an important part of the game, and it's an important part to understand exactly what the point of the game is. Because as of right now, it's just been running around solving puzzles. That's not really anything. Also, yeah, I guess I could have just gone up there, couldn't I have? Well, whatever. Enjoy the sights. Sights, sounds, tastes.
You probably should do a little bit more like look at the sites when you're going places.
I've been looking at a lot of the sites. We've seen a lot of various
Yeah, I suppose.
statuary around here.
I mean, you're going to like individual like scenes. I'm talking like look over the island a little bit more.
yeah, I guess. Well, we'll get a good chance to do that when it comes to getting to the top of the mountain, after all.
Yeah, that's fair.
You always got to kind of balance
Stop and smell the
rushing, getting to the point here with also stopping to smell the roses, because there's a lot of that in this game. There's a lot of stuff to be seen. There's a lot of stuff to see. I know that was the same phrase said in the same way. The entire game is a puzzle. You got to puzzle it out. And look at this filter getting thrown on here like I'm going into Blight Town.
Oh, are those clouds at Tetramino?
What? I didn't see.
No, left.
I mean, I kind of thought it looked like that. They look meaningful,
Maybe.
but I don't know if they are or not.
Yeah, it's hard to tell. Some of these things we haven't done every environmental. Very few people have.
Since you keep talking about it, let's just go right now. All right, first off, we got this panel here. And it was extremely easy and didn't unlock anything, so...
It's
But the more
meaningless.
important point is that it also appears in this river right now, because...
Oh, wow.
oh, stop saying it like that! You know exactly what's
What?
going to be happening.
No, I'm sorry. I'm lying.
And the other
yeah.
thing you can see is that it goes right into you. And that's what all those obelisks are supposed to be for. And then...
People aren't going to notice the obelisk right away. Let's just the environmental puzzle. Let's just dwell on this. Anytime you see a circle with the ending, that's potentially a puzzle in the real, I guess the game world, but not on a puzzle, but just anywhere you see that is potentially a puzzle that you're expected to solve to get 100%.
And there are so very many of them to be had in the game,
Yeah.
and I haven't found them
In
all.
fact,
I'm going to
look at
eventually
those-
try, but
those paint, the paint on that.
other than that,
No, like the paint patterns. Huh, that's interesting. Those are very odd, etc.
the paint.
Yeah, there's like I think.
Yeah,
there's two
yeah,
puzzles there,
clearly.
or two environmental.
And There's. I'll figure it out in a second.
I think there's a
somewhere here.
yeah.
Whatever.
Okay, yeah.
I will have separate videos for doing that. We're not going to do that all immediately. No, the real point of coming up here is to see the weird, like, statuary going on where people are trying to destroy
Are
this.
they fighting,
people
or are they working
fighting
together?
over this box here. It's kind of hard to say.
See, for me, that
I
looks
guess
like
you're
a
moving
boss
stuff up here
oppressing
with
a
the
worker.
plates of metal.
I'm not even kidding. That's what it looks like from. But also, is he smiling, or is he?
He seems to be having a good time.
Glowering. These like I would say that
pretty
these
nice slick back
these
hair,
two
certainly.
figures in particular look very different depending on how you look at their faces. Like where, like he looks almost sinister if you look at him like that. I think he looks pretty sinister if you look at him. Like,
He looks like he's having a good
and,
time.
Like he's
He's
plotting
hauling
something.
around this big box. Sure. Anyway, this is the ultimate goal of the game.
I don't know. I mean, it's one of those. I think it's a really ambiguous image. I don't think there's like a right answer.
I don't think there's a right answer for a lot of the stuff in this game, just in general. That's entirely intentional. I know that feeling.
Yeah.
But
Don't we all?
yes, this is the entire point of the game. This opening up this box, getting these little slats off of here, and then figuring out what is actually going to happen after that. My initial idea when I first saw this was that the box was going to open up and it was going to contain a gun power up, and then we were going to be solving puzzles in a different way.
Oh yeah. Well, it is a Metroidvania game with your knowledge. So if you get that gun upgrade in real life. So it's really something to look forward to.
That's a good point. I've always wanted to own a gun, and also this, which is clearly intended so that you only see it when you're going back down the mountain. And this, which...
I mean, how are you going to solve that though? What are those blue things?
We can go look on the map right now and figure out each part of what's in that puzzle and go to that specific part.
Really, you just need the water thing, the reflection.
Yeah, it's really just the water thing, because the other stuff is like the separation, whatever, and there's the separation stuff, and then there's the dot puzzle, which are all a bunch of things too.
So yeah, that's one I didn't know about. I might have gotten that.
Look, they will all be covered in their own video. I just wanted to show that they are all over the place here right now.
Every single environmental puzzle gets its own video.
No, maybe like every section of the environmental puzzles, but every
yeah,
single
no, that
one.
actually makes sense.
It's like, yeah, and I don't know. They'll probably come sort of at the end of the various like main part of the game. But like there are just so many of them, and it takes so long to kind of figure them out.
This game is so colorful, and it's like sometimes the color.
It's very nice.
Yeah,
I like seeing a lot of color in games. That's something that you don't see too often.
You feel like you're in like kind of a a really dry forest.